Hey everybody, this is Princesita1021, and I just made a video of the Omega trial with Black Cat, but I spaced and did not show you the powers and the talents that I used to pass the trial. So I made this follow-up video that you can couple with the previous video of the trial to help you have a smooth run through. So I start with my main power, the one that I use all the time, and it's land on your feet. And I use this power because it has double damage. It has a damage when she jumps in the air and lands, and then when she swings her grappling hook around. And it happens to be probably the most powerful melee tool that I think she has. Then I use the sticky trap, which I use it because it makes the enemies vulnerable and it does a lot of damage, and the explosive trap because that one does a lot of damage too. And you put them both together, it makes them vulnerable, and then you hit with the explosive, which does even more damage. Now my build for Black Cat is a mix of gadget and bleeding, just because she does a lot of bleed damage, and her gadget powers are nice too, especially because her signature is a gadget power. So I use her signature, of course, which I transformed into Cat's Meow, and as you can see, that does tremendous damage. And I'll show you how I transformed that in my talents in just a second.
Ooh, I could steal that thing off the wall.
Then I use
no
Master
one would ever
Thief,
look twice.
and I use this because it gives you a smoke bomb and it makes her invisible, and she has certain bleeding powers that she can only use when she's invisible. So I use that, and also the claw and gadget powers are always critical, so that's very important. So from the Master Thief, I then use Put Him Down, and this is one of the powers that she can only use when she's stealthied or invisible, and it gives you a whip attack, which is pretty strong, and it makes them bleed profusely. That's the important part. And when they bleed profusely, then I go ahead and hit them with my other power, which is the Faux Fillet, which gives you the 5 hits with the claws, and then I go back to hitting them with the land on your feet. So because they're bleeding profusely, they'll do extra damage. So now let's move on to my talents. So for my talents, the first one, I use the 10 times the charm simply because she does, she loses her lives a lot, and well, I lose lives a lot with her. So it kind of made it a little bit easier, gave me an extra life, and it helps her 9 lives regenerate faster. The second power that I use is the Quick Getaway, which is her dash power, and it increases her stealth to 5 seconds, which also makes it easier for me to use the power that she has to use when she's stealthied, even when Master Thief is on cooldown, because Master Thief's cooldown is 30 seconds. So this just helps me be able to use that power more often and make them bleed more often, which lets me use their bleeding powers, which does more damage over time overall. The next talent that I use is the Gatecrasher, and I use that because while the Master Thief is active, claw and gadget powers always do a critical hit. Critical hits and brutal hits are very important to me. The next talent that I use is the big one. This turns Cat Scratch Fever, which is her original signature, and it turns it into Cat's Meow, which puts a whole bunch of little explosives around, and then they detonate. And she gets 2 times the damage because, as you saw before, she had a hit of like 144,000 to 220,000 twice. She gets the hit from when the bombs detonate and she goes up in the air, and then when she comes crashing down, that's another hit. So it makes it much more powerful. And the final talent that I used was the Cross Paths, because I found that a lot of times when I was stealthied, if I were to use a trap power, it would break my stealth automatically. Then I have to wait for the cooldown, or I'd have to wait to dash away. So the trap powers no longer break stealth, and they give extra damage. So it basically gives her gadgets more damage, and it gives more damage to her signature power as well. So with these, then with her infinity points stacked toward brutal and critical, and then with her her inventory, like the stuff in her inventory, and her gear being toward her traits, it made it a little bit easier to pass the trial. So I hope this helps, and I will be back probably today or tomorrow with either Angela or Squirrel Girl. So if you guys have any questions, any feedback, drop a comment on my page. If you found this helpful, just hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you guys later.